Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari 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 Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe,
Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe.
Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Mai Subhadra,
Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Mai Subhadra.
Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Bhagagopa, Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan,
Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Balagopa Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan.
Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai,
Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva,
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo,
Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo.
Jai Hari Nama Sankirtana Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Oh, read the invocation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum
Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamcha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, what chapter are we discussing today?
Devotional services.
Devotional service. Chapter number 12. So today we'll conclude chapter 12, which is the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita. I was just thinking earlier that right around this time, 9 years ago, we started this Friday Satsang. So it took us 9 years to come to chapter 12. Of course, we started and restarted a couple times, but as we progressed, and it shows just how much depth of nectar there is in this Bhagavad Gita. We started this gathering in August of 2011, actually July of 2011. So, nice. But this middle section of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has dedicated speaking exclusively to devotional service. So we have been speaking about these wonderful qualities of devotees, and that these qualities, they are actually the natural qualities of all of us. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, then we also have similar qualities to Krishna. Just as if I pull a drop of ocean water out of the ocean, that drop contains a similar qualities as the whole ocean, because it came from the ocean. So similarly, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, these qualities Krishna is describing are also who we actually naturally are. But of course, we are similar to Krishna in the sense we have the qualities, but we know quantitatively we are very small. Like in the ocean, that drop of water, it has some salt content in it, but in quantity, the salt in that drop of ocean compared to the whole of ocean is very small. So it has similar features. So we are qualitatively similar, quantitatively small. So when we hear about these qualities being described by Krishna, they are very sweet, and they seem sometimes like, wow, how I can be equal to friends and enemies. I will develop the purity to be equal poise in honor and dishonor. These are very strong qualities. Well, we should be comforted that actually that's our natural original state. So it's not like we have to go learn these qualities somewhere. Actually, the inherent spirit soul possesses these very beautiful qualities. So where do they go? Where are they now? Oh, like if I have a diamond and I put it in this mud, in this pot, and I pull it out, that clump no longer shows the qualities of sparkle, right? It's covered by the mud. But the ability to sparkle for that diamond is not in any way being compromised. Not changed at all. It is untouched. All I have to do is, what do I have to do? Clean it. And when I clean it, by cleaning it, am I creating the sparkle factor of the diamond?
It's already there.
It's already there. So similarly, these qualities are natural to our soul. But we have accumulated the equivalent of some mud, some dirt. And these are some of the impure qualities. And that happens as we associate with matter, as we associate with things separate from Krishna. So that happens. So, what to do now? How to remove that mud, that dirt that is covering the very beautiful nature of the soul?
Chanting. Effective chanting.
We have to find a process to cleanse that dirt, that covering. We know if I have a dirty window and I just take a wet cloth with some water, it may or may not clean it. My attempting is to clean it, but it may not clean it. But if I apply some good solution to it, now I wipe it, it may clean. But maybe I'll leave some streaks. Then I find this really best solution that's streak-free and organic and natural, right? All the perfect qualities. It won't burn my hands. And then I clean the window. Then I get a perfect clarity. So the cleansing process also has to be prescribed. There are different types of cleansing processes. So then, if there are different types of cleansing processes, what is our primary question? Which is the best one, right? Anybody wants to know what's the second best or third best? It's got to be pet friendly. Yes, it's got to be, user error friendly, right? Because we want the best process. And in any process, what other characteristics do we want from the process? Easy. We don't want to work so hard, right? We don't want to clean with extra elbow grease. We want the agent to do the cleaning. We don't want to do the extra work. So we want the process to be best and also easy. What other characteristics of the process should we have?
Enjoyable.
Huh?
Enjoyable.
Well, it should be fun to do. Right? If I want to clean, it should be fun to do. How many of us would love that the cleaning process was fun? We'd all have sparkling clean houses, right? So we want it to be best, easy, fun. Any other criteria we want from this process?
Safe, so that we don't
Safe.
fall back again.
Yeah, we want it to
Guaranteed.
be safe. Guaranteed. We want results. We want it to be effective. That is also part of the best criteria. Right? We also have to have the process available to us. Right? If this cleansing agent that so-called will clean this window is there, but I can't get it, it doesn't really do me any good. Right? It'll only frustrate me actually. Because now I'll wish I had it, but I can't get my hands on it. So Krishna is so kind and so loving that he has made this best cleansing process the most effective. Why we say best? Because it is the most effective. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, Pavitram Uttamam. This is the most cleansing process. And He says it's readily available. Anybody can do it. What is the qualification to render devotional service? He says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. He says, you can offer me even a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or some water. But I will accept it if it comes, yome bhaktya prayachati. With bhaktya, with love. Krishna says, you don't have to be some erudite scholar. You don't have to have memorized Bhagavad Gita. You don't have to have this wealth to be able to perform elaborate yagyas. You don't have to have, any pre-qualifications. Just offer me a glass of water, a fruit, a flower, something, a leaf. And by doing that, it is the most effective process in cleansing the heart. Because there are many other cleansing processes out there. Right? We can do different yagyas, different prayaschita processes. There are different things we can do. We can go bathe in the Ganges. And Maharaj Parikshit compares all these other processes. He calls them elephant baths. Why? Because an elephant very elaborately washes himself in a pond, cleanses the body, in a big body of an elephant, right? So it takes some time. But as soon as the elephant comes out of the water, what does it do? It throws mud on it, all over its skin. And he says this process of atonement, Parikshit Maharaj is saying, is like that. We sin and we atone, we sin and we atone, we sin and we atone. He says, what's the point of atoning if we're just going to go back to sinning? What's the point of cleaning this window if all I'm going to do is make it dirty again? So he says, isn't there a better process? Yes, that is devotional service. Because when we do devotional service, we actually get to the root cause. We cleanse from the heart these root cause features that lead one to sin, to do activities that are not good for us. So by doing these other processes, yes, I may atone, but the tendency and the taste for these sinful activities don't dissipate. But by bhakti, Krishna has arranged this process so sweetly that by practicing devotional service, naturally the taste and tendency, the proclivity, this bijam and kutam, they are eradicated from the heart. And when they are gone from the heart, there is no more sinning. It is a permanent cleansing process. And that is what makes bhakti so sweet and so beautiful. It's available, highly effective, permanent results. Anyone can do it. And it is available to all of us. And if we do it, these qualities we are discussing will naturally come out. So this is really the crux of this whole middle section of the Bhagavad Gita. If we have to summarize it, what is that? Render devotional service. Krishna has given so many different types of yoga in the first part of Bhagavad Gita. He's talked about karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bodhi yoga. But at the end he says, do bhakti yoga. And now we know why. If I have many options to cleanse the window, I'm going to pick based on the criteria we all discussed. And so this is the essence, right? So last time we talked about some of these qualities, equal to friends and enemies, equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress. So is Krishna encouraging us to be like a stone? We should have no emotions? What is he telling us?
Put all your enthusiasm and energy in devotional service.
Put all of your enthusiasm and energy in devotional service. When he speaks about honor and dishonor is on what platform? Material. How do you honor and dishonor the soul? You can. So this honor and dishonor relates to my body. well, I'm not this body. Prabhupada gives a very vivid example of the car and the driver. You know, if you're driving down the street and someone dishonors your car, if you're at least rational, whatever. You're not dishonoring me, you're dishonoring my car. But if I'm so attached to the car, when I'm overly attached to the car, when my car is dishonored, who feels pain? Me. Similarly, when we have this deep attachment to the body, we experience the ups and downs of the body. So in fact, Krishna says, the devotee, they say, no, I am not this body. But we know we're not this body from chapter 2. But these symptoms, when we have these qualities, it shows that we are actually living that. We have realized this knowledge. So we know it, I'm not this body. But when I feel honor and dishonor, what am I doing?
Looking at the body.
I'm identifying with the body. Right? So in theory I know, so these are great symptoms for us to evaluate. Am I really on the spiritual platform or not? So next time we feel dishonor, what should pop into our head?
Not this body.
Krishna? Huh?
I'm not this body.
I'm not this body. If immediately when we feel dishonor, and I remember I'm not this body, what will happen to our emotion of that dishonor? It'll dissipate. Next time I am feeling that some enemy is being inimical to me. Oh, but the mind just starts tornadoing up. And if I say what? I'm not this body. What happens to those thoughts? We just keep reminding. Yeah, the emotions might come, but when they come, just keep reminding, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. And by doing so, we'll be able to invest our energy in our relationship with Krishna, in bhakti, and forego investing all of our energy in this honor and dishonor. Krishna says, satisfied with anything. What does that mean? Satisfied with anything.
They're self-satisfied. They don't.
Self-
Whatever comes to them, they'll take.
So how does a devotee come to the consciousness? Do they just force their senses? Okay, I don't need to eat, pizza and pakoras, and I'll eat anything. What does the devotee depend on in order to become self-satisfied or always satisfied with anything?
Everything is like a mercy or a blessing of Krishna. Either ways, so I'm satisfied.
You can put that here. Everything is a blessing or a mercy of Krishna, right? So, when one is satisfied with anything, they have to have faith, right? Like a child. Is a child worried about where the next meal will come from? Do they worry? Are they like in stress and anxiety? Why?
They know that the time will come, mother will bring food.
They know. When the time, whether they ask or not,
they
mother
will
will bring.
Yeah.
They know.
They'll get it. Yeah.
They'll get it. So the devotee has that same faith in Krishna. The same faith. We are children of Krishna. That Krishna will provide. Now, it takes some development of that faith, right? But just like, how did a child have the faith that mother will bring food whether he asks or not? How did a child develop that faith?
Gradually.
Huh?
Gradually, every day. I mean, we watch, we see, I mean,
Yeah.
we get
He experienced it.
experience.
And he experienced it. Wait a minute.
It's happening.
Yeah, I don't have to ask, and every day it comes. So how are we going to have the faith that Krishna will provide? Experience it. Through experience. The same way Krishna will reciprocate. And if we see in our life so many things have happened and we can't explain them, where they seem random. They seem almost luck, we say. There's no such thing as luck. Luck means random. Everything is ordained by the Supreme Lord. Good and bad, based on our karma. Who is providing the sunlight every day? Anybody worries, oh, what if the sun runs out of fuel by tomorrow morning? Anybody is stressed out about that?
No.
Oh, we don't. Who is providing that? Who is providing the air we breathe? Who is providing the rains, the soil to grow the foods, the raw materials for everything that we're all. The only problem is we don't see it. But we don't see it. Child sees it in time. Initially, they don't see it also, right? In their immature state, child doesn't see it. But as they grow up and mature, the child sees it. So similarly, as we mature in our devotional service, along the same lines, the fact that the child didn't see it didn't negate it, the fact that mother was providing, right? Similarly, the fact that we may not see or acknowledge that Krishna is providing doesn't negate the fact that he is providing. So by the practice of bhakti, our understanding will mature and grow. So then one will become very satisfied. We know without satisfaction of our desires, there cannot be peace. We'll always want. Until our desires are satisfied. And have you met anybody that
Satisfied.
honestly, at least I have to put the word honestly, say they have satisfied all their material desires? Have you met one living entity? It doesn't exist. Even the richest of the rich, the most famous of the famous, the most beautiful of the beautiful, intelligent of the intelligent. You can have all these opulences, but still, they may give off an impression externally. Oh, they have the perfect life. But we know they're still unsatisfied. Now, have you seen a devotee of Krishna satisfied? Have you experienced that? So many. Fully satisfied. The life of Srila Prabhupada. If you study his pastimes, you see, no matter what good was happening or really, really difficult times, he was always satisfied. Because he knew this is Krishna's plan. I am just an agent, a puppet in the hands of Krishna. If he wants it to be successful, it will. If not, no problem. I'll just keep doing my best. So this always satisfied with anything. It's actually a very powerful quality. You're sure to be equal in honor and dishonor. Makes us immune to all the external circumstances, right? To be undisturbed in happiness or distress. It makes us immune. We don't get disturbed. But we don't just want to be not disturbed. We also want to be fulfilled, right? The lack of misery is not going to give you happiness. It's the presence of something positive that will give you happiness. We work so hard in our life trying to negate push away all these bad things, but we don't know what good to bring in. So Krishna says that the devotee, this is one of the great qualities of them. They're satisfied. There's no hankering, no lamenting. Na shotati na kankshati. Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na shotati na kankshati. He says, when one realizes I am spirit soul, becomes fully joyful. And has no more hankering and no more lamenting. How many of us want to be free of any hankering or lamenting? Such a powerful. It happens when we realize I am spirit soul. And my action is devotional service. Shall we read the last verse? Verse 20. To conclude this chapter. Someone wants to read the verse?
Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, make me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me.
Someone want to read the purport? And split it up into two parts. Split it up? No?
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this chapter, from verse 2 to the end, from Mai Aveshya Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, through Ye Tu Dharmamritam Adam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the process of devotional service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. Do you want to continue?
In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulated principles of devotional service of faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in transcendental service to the Lord.
This path is recommended in this chapter, therefore there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path of self-realization. For the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, one works without fruit of result, meditates, and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly and desire to engage in Krishna consciousness and pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Thus the end of Bhaktivedanta purports for the 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
So Srila Prabhupada establishes what is the best path.
Bhakti Yoga.
And Krishna says in the verse, who is very dear to him?
Follow.
Right? And what do the devotees do? They serve. And how how do they serve according to the verse?
With faith.
With faith, with love. And what other characteristic do we see of the service?
Making him the supreme goal.
Making him the supreme goal. And one more. Enthusiasm. Yeah. No, but it's related to one more.
Association.
Okay. So we'll talk about association of devotees. Yes, very important. So what other characteristic do we see?
Like completely.
Completely. So that's kind of enthusiasm, right? When we're enthusiastic about something, we give ourselves completely to it. So we see that those who are in the imperishable path. What does imperishable mean? What's that? Without beginning or end. Do we know anything in the material world that is imperishable? As soon as you construct a home, what happens? It starts to break down. The moment it's constructed, it starts to perish. You pluck a fruit from a tree, what happens to it? It starts to ultimately. Everything around us. But Krishna says this bhakti is imperishable. It means that the path, this process of devotional service, it is always perfect. It is not relative to a certain time or circumstance. In your position, bhakti is good. In this position, something else. No, it is always good. And the results of bhakti are eternal. They never dissipate. If whatever deposits I make into my bhakti account, they are eternally ours. If that's the fact, then we have some faith to keep doing a little bit of because I know I'm never going to lose it. If you don't know what the result is going to be, it's hard to be enthusiastic. If you don't know what the end result will be, it's going to be hard. But if I know there's a guaranteed eternal result, then I can have some enthusiasm. So why are the devotees completely engaged in devotional service? The pure devotee, why are they completely engaged? Doesn't that seem a little excessive? Don't we need balance in our life?
Because that's their source of happiness. They want to be.
That's the source of happiness they want to be, okay? Yeah? But isn't there happiness on when we're driving cars? Isn't there happiness? Playing video games? Isn't there happiness in so many other things? So how does a devotee completely engage themselves in devotional service?
Connection, association.
Association,
To get it
connection.
closer to
I want to go to Goloka Vrindavana.
They want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. Because they know why. Why do they want to go to Goloka Vrindavan so badly?
Back to Godhead.
It's eternal. It's the supreme goal. There's nothing else better than that. There's nothing in the whole of creation that is better than rendering service in Goloka Vrindavan. But the devotee knows that. And the non-devotee does not. That's the only difference. The fact is the fact. One who knows can then aspire for it. But the devotee completely engages because there's nothing else that compares. When I have a choice between two activities, how am I going to choose which one to do? Lesser of two evils, that's one way. Which is the lesser of two?
that's a decision making.
Huh?
Decision making.
Decision. But how will I decide which one to do? Based on what criteria?
Happiness.
Huh?
It should make me happy.
Which will make me happier? Which is better for me? Right? Am I going to, if I have two options, am I going to pick the lesser option? knowingly at least.
Just happiness or the right thing?
Right thing, yeah, but that's all
Right-
connected.
right
Yeah.
is
We
good.
feel. Why do we want to do the right thing? Because it gives us happiness. I feel good that I follow the path of righteousness. Right? There is a feeling of goodness.
You can be happy doing bad thing also.
You can be happy
Yeah,
doing bad
that's
things.
the right thing.
So the devotee knows that nothing else can give the satisfaction that bhakti can. They have experienced it. So when you have experienced it, then of course you'll do nothing else. Because the happiness is so sweet, so extreme, so wonderful that everything else pales in comparison. Pales in comparison. So the devotee, the pure devotee, is fully engaged. And they have, well, what was the other thing they have? Mother, you mentioned?
Faith.
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 Faith. But it's not blind faith. It's developed faith. Okay, so this is devotional service. Now, how do we come to know about devotional service?
Seek it out.
Seek it out. And who shows it to us?
Spiritual master.
The spiritual master. The Guru teaches us about. It's through association that one can come to this platform of knowledge. It is not by anything we can do on our own. This knowledge is descending. It means it comes from the Lord and it descends. We cannot develop it, acquire it. We can simply receive it. To receive it, we must open our hearts and minds,
Like bhakti.
be in a humble position, like Arjuna, and take advantage of the rarest of rarest fortune to have the association of pure devotees.
So faith and trust?
Huh?
Like faith and trust, what difference?
What's the difference between? They're similar, right? Faith is really confidence that by doing a certain action, a desired outcome will happen. Right? I have faith that if I turn this upside down, it'll show me how many steps I did today. Right? I have faith. Right, Anmo? Not enough today. But I have faith that it'll happen. I have faith that if I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, I am cleansing the heart with the most powerful cleansing agent and awakening these beautiful qualities and ultimately the pure love of the Supreme. So if I have faith in that, then what will I do? I'll chant. If I don't have faith in that, I won't. So what is very powerful in building our faith? How can we accelerate our faith?
Association.
Association. Association. Association with the pure devotee of the Lord is so powerful because their faith will inspire us. Because they have experienced and seen this, our faith in that process will grow. Just like if I have desire to have a fit body and I go to the gym and I see one instructor and he's also very fit, I'll have faith that he can teach me how to also acquire a fit body. Why? Because they're fit. I'll have faith. So when the pure devotee has this experience, they're completely engaged in devotional service. We know they have the faith. And so by associating, learning, hearing from them, we can acquire that same faith. And so Prabhupada is emphasizing very strongly in this purport the power of association. And each time we read Srila Prabhupada's books, by reading these purports, we are associating directly with Srila Prabhupada. Association with the spiritual master, with the gurus, with the acharyas, They come in two forms, Vapu and Vani. Vapu is a physical interaction. Vani is through the words. But Vapu interaction is limited in time and scope. But Vani is unlimited. We can have association with Srila Prabhupada every day, and we should, by reading his books. And there's no less potency in that association. We may perceive less potency. Oh, if I could only just speak to Srila Prabhupada, I would have faith. Well, we can speak to Srila Prabhupada every day by reading his purports, reading his books, hearing his classes, his lectures. And one can have this association with the pure devotee that Srila Prabhupada is talking about. So if we want to engage in devotional service, if we want to have faith in the process of devotional service, if we want to acquire the results of devotional service, all these beautiful qualities we've been discussing for the last several weeks, if we want all of that, what should we do?
Come to Bhakti Visions.
Come to Bhakti Visions. We should associate eagerly, enthusiastically. And with enthusiastic, eager association, this will happen. Just like if I'm enthusiastically going to the gym, the result will happen.
How do you acquire bhakti? Like somebody is like, they don't understand what is Gita or book and this what they are talking about.
Yeah.
So how you get there? How do you acquire that bhakti?
How do you
Or
acquire that?
devotion?
So,
I mean, if somebody doesn't believe these things, or like
yes.
how?
So, first of all, bhakti is not, it is the natural characteristic of all of us. We all have it.
You just said that like that. It's covered.
It's covered. So we don't have to look anywhere to get it. We simply have to
So
bring
how-
it out
how
from
do
within.
that
So
really-
how to do that? Yes. So that happens with, we have to have some faith to start. Some faith. Either I can have negative faith or positive faith. I can lose my faith in the material world, and that will bring me to look to bhakti. That also happens, right? Become frustrated with our attempts. We're being slapped over and over and over again, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Or our faith can come positive, saying, "Oh, this person is making, that's so sweet, they're enjoying. What are they doing?" So that faith, it leads to association. What are you doing? We start associating and we learn. Association leads to practice. I start to practice chanting, offering prasadam, rendering service. I start to practice it. As I practice, as I said, is a cleansing agent. So all the impurities of the heart start to remove. That diamond, I'm starting to remove all those impurities, all these anarthas. When the impurities are gone, then the only desire remaining in the heart is my natural core desire. That is to serve Krishna. So I become very steady in devotional service. So it's like these steps that progress. As I become steady in devotional service, now I start to taste the real sweetness of bhakti. And when that taste comes, oh, it's so powerfully sweet. It's addicting. You develop intense attachment to this bhakti. And from there, a very spontaneous mood. One doesn't have to think, oh, I'll do my japa today. One just spontaneously runs to any opportunity to serve. It becomes natural, because that's actually our natural quality. And from there, pure love of Krishna manifests. And it started from some initial faith. So our Shastra is saying there are 9 steps from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Nartha Nivritta, Nishta, Ruchi, Shakti, Bhava. There are 9 steps. And they all lead one to another. So we don't have to look anywhere else. But if we don't have faith, yeah, this is all good, but it doesn't work for me. Nothing we can do. So this is how it comes, and the association of the pure devotee is what inspires us to take to the path. They help us acquire this faith. They give us the mercy to begin devotional service.
Where are the 9 steps?
What's that?
Where are those 9 steps?
Where are they coming from?
Yeah, where can I find them?
Prabhupada comments about them in several of the purports of Bhagavad Gita. They're also in the Nectar of Devotion. And they come from, I forget which Purana they come from.
Nectar of Devotion.
But Nectar of Devotion has these, and also Nectar of Instruction. So the 9 steps are described.
So one thing, if somebody is like simple, not very educated, or just just doing worshipping Lord Krishna every day, just offering like food, and just with he just make himself associated with Krishna, mentally. So it's not good enough. You have to do all these things. You can connect only with that to God.
You can, it's all about what is good, better, best, right? Like, it's great if
So
one can,
attaining something like if you do just this, it's not enough.
enough for what purpose?
Like after doing all this, what we are achieving or attaining.
So the point is, what is the best use of my endeavor? So by thinking of Krishna and offering my, my thoughts to Krishna, that is very, ultimately, the goal is to always remember Krishna and never forget him.
Like in your heart, you love Krishna, you believe, you trust, God is there, you are devoted to Him, and just mentally, or sometimes you offer something, flower or something. So is it not enough?
Yes, it's more than enough.
Or you have to go to temple or do all those things that you saw, that this whole chapter was like.
But if you love Krishna, then don't you want to serve him?
You don't have opportunity or like that kind of like situation or something. You are like, you can do those things, so you are not like a bhakt.
No, then Krishna knows
Yeah.
what is our ability,
Yeah.
what is our capacity.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at what we offer, he looks at what we keep for ourselves.
What you are capable of, or what you can do or you are not doing.
He knows. He has perfect knowledge.
Yeah.
What am I capable of doing?
Yeah.
And of that capacity,
You are not doing.
how much I'm giving to Krishna.
Yeah.
If my capacity is 10 and I'm giving 9 to Krishna,
Mm.
somebody else's capacity is 50 and they are giving 10 to Krishna.
Mm.
Which is more dear to Krishna?
Mm.
10 or 9? 9. If that one is giving more, as much as they can, 90%. Of course, someone giving 10 out of is also great. It's giving something, right? But Krishna says the most dear, they're 100%. 100%. So when we say, is it not enough? Remember, Krishna is our loving Father. He has no expectations of X, Y, or Z. Just like a mother and father. What is it that they want from their children? The best they can do. They're not looking for perfection. The best they can do. Apply yourself and do the best you can. But what we have to be careful of is, what is my capacity? Because sometimes we have a tendency to rationalize, I can't do this, I can't do that. And if you can't do it today, but if you express the desire to do it to Krishna, watch
it will
what
happen.
happens. Watch what happens. Krishna, I cannot come serve you in the temple, but I really want to. Now, I have a little bit of bad news. Krishna doesn't hear what we speak. He knows what's deep in our heart.
What we think.
he knows the truth in our heart. We may speak one thing, but he knows what's in the inner
Because
desire.
ultimately, like, we all are soul, and it's soul, like,
So he knows
yeah.
this deep down desire. And that's the desire he'll fulfill. Sometimes they wish, just fulfill what I speak. It'd be so much easier. Krishna, make me pure devotee. But deep down, oh, I want this and I want that. When we speak, make me pure devotee. But Krishna reciprocates with what's in our heart. So what we want to do is how to find out what is the best desires to have. The devotee is not desireless. They are free of material desires. They are full of spiritual desires. So if we cannot do something, just desire. Just desire. Actually, Rupa Goswami says, with strong, intense desire and humility. I really want this, but I am incapable of doing it on my own. I need the mercy of Krishna. If I combine these two, you will make rocket fuel speed progress. So we have to have intense desire and humility. What have we accomplished in life without strong desire? So sometimes in spirituality we think, oh, it should just happen like this. It should just happen whimsically. Yeah, I know I want it. That's like, yeah, I want to go to the gym, but it doesn't happen. I have to have a strong desire, then it happens. I keep picking this one example, I don't know why. But I have to have a strong. So in bhakti, the same thing. But we have a double standard. So we should just come to the single standard. As we have applied the sincerity and dedication to acquire our material gains, if we understand it's still not going to give me that, I apply that same sincerity in my spiritual life. Watch what happens. And Prabhupada used to say, this statement, I remember when I was young, I heard that, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. One person came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, what if this is all like a hoax, or like, what if this is, how do we know this is not real? He says, okay, listen. You have given millions of lifetimes to your material desires. Just give this one to Krishna and see what happens. What's the loss? If there's a loss at the end, you'll get another life anyways. You've had millions. Just give this life to Krishna. That's such a beautiful, simple, practical answer. Right? He says, just give, and you experience, you see. And at the end, you're going to enjoy the process all the way through. At the end, what's the loss? It's such a beautiful way of dissipating these impractical doubts. And they're impractical, but they're real. So, just desire, keep trying, and make one step further each day. One step. We're not going to go from zero to perfection overnight. Just progress, step by step, but don't stop. As soon as we stop, just keep walking.
So, two souls are born. One is like doing nothing like this. One is doing all this, bhakti and all this. And what they want to, the one who is doing all this, what they want to achieve or what they will get, and the one who is not doing all this, because both will die. So what will happen then?
Yeah. So Krishna says,
Benefit, I mean,
yeah.
why we do this, why we need this.
Krishna says, Yam yam vapi swaram bhavam tajantate kalevaram. Because whatever you think of at the time of death, that you'll achieve.
It's all about soul. We are doing everything for our soul.
We are soul.
Yeah.
I am the soul. I'm not this body.
So it's something like we are doing for our soul that we will do this, then when we die, like the other person or we, like who is doing all this. So what is the difference?
The difference is where they go.
No.
So if I'm doing activities related to the body, then at the end of this life, I'll acquire another body. What kind of body I'll get? Based on the activities I did. If I did good activities, I'll get a higher form of life. If I do bad activities, I'll get a lower form of
And
life.
what would that be?
These are laws of karma.
So what would that be, like the higher quality of life?
A human form of life, a more advanced human form of life. What is a lower form of life? Trees, birds, animals with less consciousness, right? All the way down, right? Humans have the highest form of consciousness.
Yeah. So once we are born like a human. So is it like we can go back to
Of
some
course.
other?
Of course.
Oh, we can't be like human all
No.
the time.
But
It's all
action
about
equals
karma.
reaction. If you act irresponsibly in this life, you'll get the lower life forms. Actually, in Shri Upanishad, we hear that what should be our greatest
So
fear?
that is the thing that we
Hold on, hold on. a second.
get it.
What should be our greatest fear? That we have now come to the human form of life. Our Puranas explain there are 8.4 million species of life.
Oh, yeah.
8.4.
Oh.
And actually, we have traversed all of them.
Mm.
We have been this plant, tree, bird, insect, all forms. And now we have come to the human form. In the human form of life, we have some intelligence that no other species has. That's a fact. To be able to ask questions, to
So
inquire.
we are capable of doing these things.
We
so
are
we
capable.
should do.
And if we
Yeah.
don't, that's our choice, our free will. If we don't, we will go back down the cycle of.
We have advantage of doing that.
That's why Vyasadeva says, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now that you have acquired the human form of life, you should inquire, what is good for me and what is bad for me? That's what we should do. But it's up to us. If I don't inquire and just do what I want, I have the free will to do so. But the reactions, I don't have a choice whether I want them or not. Those are forced upon me. But I can choose. So the devotee practicing Krishna consciousness, Krishna says, at the end of the life, they return to my eternal abode and they never return again. And for one who doesn't, they achieve what they were desiring based on the fruits of their activities.
So if we do this, we can be like another life, maybe human being, maybe again, but thought we will go down.
Krishna says, if you start bhakti, but you don't finish, he explains in the 8th chapter, this very detailed. If you don't finish the process, you'll come back in a family that is spiritual, where the environment is good for me to continue where I left off before.
Very nice.
But Prabhupada says, don't worry about next life. You have a guarantee
So
now.
what is mukti, that the soul people do, in India, that they want to get liberation or something, mukti, like mukti from the soul, or what is that?
Mukti is a very
That's something higher.
misunderstood process.
Oh, it never happened.
No, it does happen. But what happens, we should understand. And what type? Mukti, liberation, means to become free from all of the material modes of nature.
Like
It is not
birth and
freedom
rebirth.
from,
Yeah.
it is not a geographic destination. If I am in this planet, I'm liberated. If I'm in this planet, no. Mukti, liberation, means I'm no longer impacted by the material mode. So in this life, if you are coming to Krishna consciousness and fully devoted, you can overcome the modes of nature. Krishna says, Ma'amevya prabhavate, mayametam tarantite. You can overcome my Devi Hesha, this divine energy. So, liberation is becoming free, liberated from the modes of nature and fully in a spiritual life. So when we talk about mukti, the proper understanding of mukti is, it's the opportunity to render service to Krishna in the spiritual world. It is not, Krishna spoke at the beginning of this chapter about this impersonal pursuit. where we talk about mukti is just going to the spiritual world and we kind of float in the spiritual sky. It is one form of mukti, but it is not actually a very satisfying form, and thus those who go to that form will come back because there's no satisfaction. One must progress to at least the other 4 stages of mukti, where one gets some opportunity to serve.
But soul will always be there.
Yep. Once it goes, it's always there. Soul has come here, and it'll go back if we want it, if we follow the process. And Krishna gave exactly how to do that in chapter 8. And the
So
synthesis
there will be like birth, rebirth, those kind of things.
in the spiritual world,
No, like what about the soul who is doing all these
the
things?
soul is not born. The soul acquires new bodies.
New body, yeah.
Just like I acquire a new
Yeah,
kurta,
yeah.
but I am not this kurta. But this is my kurta. But I'm not the kurta. This is my hand, but I'm not the hand. If my hand is over there, I'm not going to say I am over there. I'm going to say my hand is over there. This is my head. I won't give the same example. But I am not the head. I'm not the body. When I say my, who is the my? That is the spirit soul. Now the spirit soul today has acquired this body, this type of covenant. Next life it can acquire a different one. But if the spirit soul, by the association of pure devotee, begins to practice devotional service, it will resume its spiritual body in the spiritual world. And there it will render eternal service to Krishna.
About yama.
Yeah.
To what extent does one have to be so pious to experience yama?
Oh.
Or like the yama guards.
Yes. So the Yamadutas and Yamaraj. So our Shastra explains what types of activities warrant that type of experience. And so, when we take to the Prad, there are basically 4 pillars of sinful life. Illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and media. These 4 activities, when we participate in them, they carry reactions. And those reactions are given. When one is taken to intoxication, they're taken down to Yamaraj, and their mouth is held open and molten iron is poured into their mouths. When they can give so many different examples. They're actually quite hair-raising. They're explained in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So much detail.
Yeah.
And what that does is that burns much of our karma. And then we regain a life form based on what's left. And then we'll go back from there. And ultimately, we'll burn off all our karma and come back to the human form of life. And then the human form of life, again, we have a choice. What am I going to do? And based on those choices, I'm creating my future destinations. If I have the fortune and the intelligence and the knowledge to acquire, I can end that cycle and return back home, back to Godhead. If I don't,
So if you know you're dead, nobody knows when you're going to die or something. So you said when you are dying, that time what you think or do first.
Yeah.
It depends on. So what should we think? What should we do?
So
Does
What is
bhakti
the right
liberate-
thing?
Does bhakti yoga liberate one from the time of their piousness till death if they practice bhakti?
Krishna says, Sarva dharma patityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo. He says, I will take all of your sins if one
Chant.
surrenders to me.
Just chant
Then he
God's
says,
name.
Ma suchaha, don't fear. So by practicing devotional service, one is eradicating mountains and mountains of past sins. But the thing we have to be careful of is not to incur new ones. Because now that we know we cannot use bhakti as a means, I can chant a couple rounds of japa, and so now I'll be free from sins. That is a sin we can never overcome. That is no offense. So, yes, by the practice of bhakti, whatever we have done in the past, Krishna says, I'll take care of all that. Don't worry. I will free you from that baggage. You just focus on your devotional service. Because He's so loving. He's thinking, no, don't worry. Just surrender and practice devotional service. And He gives us this assurance at the end of the bhakti. That's how powerful bhakti is. That it can eradicate all this future suffering. Otherwise, we are destined to become. So bhakti can change our future destiny. That's how powerful it is.
So when it's at the time of death or something, what you feel or what you think or something. So what we should do that time?
Prabhupada
Just chant God's name or think about Him.
Prabhupada says perfectly, we should chant the holy names of the Lord.
Oh.
But he says, if you have spent your whole life not thinking of Krishna,
Even then.
then at that time, when your body is giving you so much trouble and it's so difficult, it's virtually impossible to think of Krishna. If you cannot think of Krishna now, when your body and mind is able, then what hope you have beyond some random luck? But are we going to put our destiny in the hands of luck? At least with intelligence. So yes, technically speaking, you can do whatever you want your whole life and just think of Krishna at the time of death. But it's not going to happen. It's equivalent to a child saying, Mother, Father, I don't have to study, go to school. How are you going to maintain yourself? I'll just buy one lottery ticket and I'll win. Now, technically, it's possible that could work, right? But is that a viable strategy that you would recommend to someone you love? Of course not. It's foolish. So we might say, oh yeah, I'll just do whatever I want in time of death. Krishna says, remember me, and I'm all set. But if our whole life we have spent not thinking of Krishna, very, very unlikely. Could happen.
Yeah, because you said whatever we did in this life, it goes with our soul, impressions. So that is the benefit,
So
advantage.
the devotee is always thinking of Krishna, so they don't care when death comes.
Yeah.
I have no fear. Why do I care when this kurta is going to wear out and I'm going to change it? I don't care. No one will come. So the devotee has knowledge. Right? They don't care the changing of the bodies. They're dhiras. They're sober. They're not bewildered by such a change.
Getting dark.
Huh?
It's getting dark now.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, those are my line.
So is it okay to be selfish to ask for benefits when in the mood to serve Krishna, thus akarma, but asking for benefits per se is karmic?
Well, Krishna says that there are 4 types of pious souls who approach me with some motive, some desire for money or freedom from distress, curiosity or wise. So they're pious because ultimately they'll become purified from those desires. So ultimately it's best that we approach Krishna with no desires. Why? Because Krishna knows what's best for us anyways. Just like child doesn't have to approach mother and father with desires, they'll provide. Simply they have to render service and love. So the best is just to serve Krishna. The desires we should have, how I can serve you more, how I can develop the faith to serve you fully, how I can develop the sincerity, how I can rid myself of these impurities, those things that increase my abilities, those are good desires. And then whatever Krishna desires to happen, will happen.
But if we are going through some problems or we have something, so who we will tell? We will tell Krishna.
Yeah, tell him.
So we
Tell
have
him.
to tell.
Yes. Tell
I
him.
mean, we know that he will help, but first we have to tell.
Tell him. But we
He
don't.
knows everything, I know, but
So that's why
yeah.
you can tell. Why not?
Mm,
But also, you don't have to tell. Both is good.
yeah.
If we don't tell or tell, Krishna will help.
Please help.
help. So you tell,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
Yeah.
he'll still tell. He'll still help.
Oh.
Because he always cares. He saes, I'm preserving
If
what
you
my
are a
devotee
bhakt,
has,
he
and I
is-
carry what they lack. I'm always protecting my devotee. He says, Suratam Sarva Bhutanam, I am your well-wisher. So whether his devotee asks or not, he's always taking care of his devotees. If you have some problem, no problem. Tell him. But if you don't also have faith, he'll take care of it. That's how loving it is. Just like father and mother.
But it takes time.
Yes. So just takes time. Everything takes time. Nothing happened overnight. So today, a little bit more than yesterday.
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
but we don't
little
know
more.
and we get like what will happen.
Just keep chanting. Just keep chanting.
Yeah,
If you want one takeaway, just chant. Forget about everything else.
that is the power.
Just keep chanting and keep associating. By chanting and good association. You have more questions?
Why devotees have material desires?
Because they don't have faith in Krishna. Why you would have material desire is I don't have faith that this Krishna is the source of everything. That he is the highest taste. I have some. When I have full faith, then I have no other desires. Right?
How do we acquire the qualities of NOI, verse 1, Nectar of Instruction, verse 1? Is it by chanting exclusively, or is it accompanied by chanting and our own efforts to imbibe those?
So verse 1 is the six urges: Vacho Vegam, Manasakaroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, and Udara Pashto Vegam. These six urges we are advised to control. The urges of the tongue, the urges of the mind, of anger, of the speech, and of the belly and genitals. These six things we should control. So they're not easy to control by some artificial means. So Rupa Goswami is guiding us that we should control by the practice of bhakti. So yes, by chanting, we'll automatically develop control. By honoring Krishna Prasad, we'll develop control of the tongue and the belly and the genitals. By thinking about and reading and hearing about Krishna's pastimes, we'll develop control of the mind. So all the different aspects of devotional service bring about the control of these urges.
So
They happen naturally. So one doesn't have to externally acquire, but we should become conscious of them so we can accentuate and enhance those urges to control. And we should recognize that yes, I should control these things when I'm not yet fully in that state. So that is the
so prasadam really purify our mind and body.
so much so.
Oh.
It's so powerful. Srila Prabhupada built this movement on prasad. At the very beginning, he didn't give any philosophy, nothing. It just gave prasad and some harinam. So powerful. Prasad is so powerful. It purifies. So keep at least prasad we can do. That's
So
easy.
I thought we do chanting, we don't do chanting.
Yeah, we'll do chanting now.
Oh,
Let's do some chanting.
because there we do.
Yeah, we do.
What is
Ready?
the time? Sorry, what is the time?
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki